All right, let's just jump right in. Today we're going to talk about a superstar molecule that's absolutely essential for your health, but, most of us have probably never even heard of it. It's called nitric oxide. And we're about to find out how some of our most common, even so-called healthy habits might be secretly working against us.
Yeah, I know, that sounds a little crazy, right? But what if the mouthwash you use every single day, or the cooking oils you think are good for you, are actually blocking one of your body's most critical functions? That's exactly what we're going to dig into.
So first up, let's meet the hero of our story. This tiny but incredibly powerful molecule that our bodies are supposed to make all on their own. Nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide, or NO for short, is not just some random body chemical. The source material calls it fundamental. Think of it like the air traffic controller for your entire circulatory system. Its main job is to tell your blood vessels to relax and open up. That means better blood flow, which in turn means better blood pressure and a healthier metabolism. It is so important.
And here's the real kicker. This isn't some genetic lottery you can't control. Your ability to produce this molecule is directly tied to your everyday choices. What you put in your mouth, how you move your body, even how you keep your teeth clean. All of these things can either crank up your nitric oxide production or completely shut it down. You're in the driver's seat.
Which brings us to the really eye-opening part of this explainer. Let's talk about the hidden enemies, the saboteurs of nitric oxide that might just be hanging out in your kitchen or your bathroom right now.
First on the list, and you probably guessed it, is sugar. The source material really doesn't mince words here. It calls sugar enemy number one. But this isn't about the usual stuff, like calories and weight gain. The real damage is way more sneaky, happening deep down at the molecular level.
So there's this process called glycation. The easiest way to think about it is that excess sugar literally makes your inside sticky. It's like pouring syrup into a delicate machine. These sticky sugar molecules go and latch on to the exact enzyme that's supposed to be making nitric oxide for you. It gums up the works, blocking production. And this is a direct path to insulin resistance. In fact, the source notes that high long-term blood sugar levels are a major predictor of a shorter life.
Okay, you ready for a real curveball? Your antiseptic mouthwash. We use it to kill the bad germs, right? But here's the problem. It's like using a flamethrower to get rid of a few weeds in your garden. It just torches everything. It wipes out the bad bacteria for sure, but it also annihilates the good bacteria. And you actually need those little guys in your mouth. They're essential for taking nitrates from the food you eat and turning them into the nitric oxide your body uses.
And get this, the effect is shockingly fast. A study mentioned in the material found that using antiseptic mouthwash every day led to a noticeable spike in blood pressure in just 7 days, 1 week. That's how quickly messing with your oral microbiome can hit your cardiovascular system. It's kind of insane.
And in that same vein, fluoride also gets called out. The sources flag it as a neurotoxin and antiseptic, suggesting that it can mess with your thyroid and even the good bacteria on your skin. It's just another one of those common ingredients we're told to maybe take a second look at.
Okay, if you thought the mouthwash thing was a big deal, brace yourself. Because this next one is the headliner. Processed seed oils. We're talking about your typical vegetable, canola, soy, and corn oils. The source material warns their inflammatory effect is so bad that it's compared to smoking. Let that sink in for a second. That's how severely they mess up your cells.
But here's the part that is truly mind-blowing. It's how long this stuff hangs around in your body. The half-life of these oils in your fat cells is about 600 days. That means after almost 2 years, half of that oil you ate is still there, literally stuck in your cell membranes, causing problems.
So, because of that crazy long half-life, getting these oils fully out of your system is a long-haul project. We're talking about 10 years, a full decade. And that's if you stop eating them today. It just puts a whole new perspective on how one choice at the dinner table can have consequences that last for years and years.
Okay, I know that was a lot of bad news. But don't worry, it is not all doom and gloom. The best part is that you can totally turn this ship around. So now, let's flip the script and talk about how to reignite your body's own natural ability to make this miracle molecule. So, first things first, food. The game plan is actually pretty simple. You cut out the stuff that's blocking production. That's the sugar and the processed carbs. And you lean into high-protein, healthy fat foods. Remember that sticky sugar gumming up the enzyme? Well, this is how you clean out the machine. The example of having bacon and eggs but skipping the toast is perfect. And intermittent fasting, like for 18 hours a day, gets a huge shout out as a way to really supercharge the whole process.
Next up, you can stimulate production through movement. A simple 20 or 30-minute walk every day, great, that helps. But if you really want to kick things into high gear, high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is where it's at. Those short, all-out bursts create a temporary oxygen debt in your cells, which basically screams at your body, hey, make more nitric oxide now. And then there's this really cool hack. You can literally train your blood vessels. Go from a hot sauna to a cold shower. That contrast forces them to open and close, which is like a workout for your arteries, making them stronger and more flexible. So once you start to see health through this nitric oxide lens, a lot of the old conventional rules start to look, well, a little shaky. It totally reframes how we should think about big things like cholesterol and sodium.
Take high blood pressure. For decades, we've heard it's a sodium problem, cut the salt, right? But from this perspective, the real culprit is a lack of nitric oxide, mostly because sugar is damaging our blood vessels. It shifts the blame. And what about cholesterol? The story's always lower is better. But this viewpoint argues that cholesterol getting too low, say under 200, is actually a problem because you need it to build healthy cells and make your hormones.
And this leads us to a really critical point about statins, the drugs designed to hammer down cholesterol. The source material describes them as being toxic to mitochondria. And your mitochondria, those are the tiny power plants inside every single cell in your body. So it raises a huge question. Are we solving one problem just to create an even bigger one at the very core of our body's energy production?
So, as we bring this all home, it really boils down to thinking about the long game. It's about reframing our whole approach to health with one big 10-year question. Ultimately, the big takeaway here is that the path to better health might not be about adding more stuff, not more pills, not more complicated routines. Maybe the most powerful thing we can do is simply remove the things that are interfering with our body's amazing built-in ability to function. It's about just getting out of our own way. So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. If we know these processed oils can stick around in our bodies for a full decade, what would it actually mean for the health of every single cell in your body to decide today to consciously eliminate them? What could you feel like in 10 years? That's a question we're thinking about.